Hello, it's Ashton Lewis.
And I'm Daphne Lynn.
And you are listening to the
NDE World Podcast.
Welcome to the NDE World Podcast. I am your host, Ashton Lewis. In the studio with me, I have my lovely hostess, Miss Daphne Lynn, here to bug me today. And I'm sorry, to here to help us with today's episode. And, how are you today?
Hey,
good
morning. Or
morning.
evening, or wherever you are in the world. Hello.
That's right. Hello. How are you, Daphne?
I am great, baby. How are you?
Fine. Yeah, I'm doing well. Absolutely fantastic. I'm really into this with this Universal Divine Oneness and the things that we've been learning, and we're still kind of like setting the foundation, and we're going to be continuing with it, but we'll start actually introducing the actual laws themselves, and not only that, but show you how to apply them in your life. So I know you've been kind of antsy about that as well too. So we're going to be getting to that soon as well. We're still kind of in that foundation stage. This is a part. What is this? Three or four? I think
three.
Is it three? Okay.
It may be four, but I think it's
of
three.
The actual introduction. Yeah. I think it's going to have like 3 or 4 or something like that. Anyway, we'll have a few episodes that will be, setting the foundation and, kind of getting you the right mindset, and then we'll kind of start introducing the actual laws as well.
The segue.
Yeah. So, welcome everybody. Welcome. Now, if you are new and not familiar with who we are, don't forget to go to the website. And if you're returning, don't forget to go to the website. That's NDE.world for more information on who we are and what we do. We've got really cool podcasts, and we have lots of different things going on. So please go over there and check that out. Again, that web address is
NDE.world.
Yes. Udo. So what is Udo, Daphne?
Oh, me.
You, Daphne.
Universal Divine Oneness.
Okay, perfect. Now, what is exactly Universal Divine Oneness for somebody that's just tuning in?
Just that being aware that everything, everyone is connected.
Yeah. We are connected. And that's the oneness, okay? So oneness is a concept of understanding that you are one with all. Some call it source, some call it the energy, the all, God, in a lot of different religions. But it's really that awareness that we all are connected to each other,
right,
to life, to nature, to the seen, the unseen, the all.
Yes, I mean, we have had so many of our NDE guests that have come on talking about the oneness, the energy of all things is connected. We are a collective here because we are from source. Everything is source.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. And to go with that point, that's how we really tie all this in with the actual near-death experience world, because we have to understand that there is a oneness that resonates within us all and within all things, okay? That's that we'll call the divine oneness, okay? It's pure. It's love that is pure. It's everything that is pure, okay? Now, the near-death experiencers go through these experiences and they come back from the other side, and they've actually had I don't want to say a taste of, but for lack of words, a taste of the other side of that love, of that greatness, of that oneness. Yeah, that experience, and they can grasp what it means to be one. They tell stories of being in the divine oneness, and realize that they are part of everything and everyone. So that's what that oneness is, okay? Now, the universal divine spirit is that spirit, okay, that emanates all things. The divine, universal divine oneness, or Udo, okay, the way it's pronounced, is being in harmony with that and acknowledging that and living your life by conscious decisions, okay, by, it is a disciplined lifestyle. It's not for just anybody, hey, let's just go out and, and be saved and do what we want. No, it takes an actual discipline. It is a responsible walk.
intention.
Yeah, it is it takes work, but boy, the rewards are literally out of this world. So what we have to understand, and we've been covering this on the last few episodes, so if you want to get to the foundation, just go back a couple episodes when we first started this actual Udo series, and kind of get a foundation of what we're talking about. But to kind of do some bullet points to set the stage, if you're just coming in, understand that there is this universal consciousness, okay, this oneness, and, okay, here's where we have the problem. There is what's known as a separate self-consciousness, okay, which is where the ego dwells, and that idea or the concept of separateness, us against them, me, you, all of this, whatever they think. The
illusion of separateness.
Yeah, the illusion. Yeah. Very good. It's the illusion of separateness. And it's infested most of the world that we know.
Yes.
Humans.
Humans only, because nature, all of creation other than man, lives in harmony with the universal oneness.
Right. Now, man has done damage to a lot of the animal kingdom, from even the point of extinction, a lot of animals.
Yeah.
And have pushed animals into different areas and stuff where now it's affecting them as well, how they interact with each other. And it's just, you can see the fruit of our labor.
Yeah.
Man has mastered the art of destruction. I've always said that.
Yes.
Because we're living in that selfish world. We don't look at the animals as us. We don't look at them as one. Okay, we don't look at them as our brothers and sisters. We don't look at them as God.
These trees out here,
mm-hmm.
Everything is one with us.
Right.
And we are acres by acres by acres, thousands upon acres, destroying forests for the raising of animals to slaughter for food,
That's
for
right.
consumption, for man's separateness.
Yeah, they're
illusion of, I need this.
Yeah,
carnism.
Yeah, carnism is someone who will have one animal and have it as a pet, say like a pet cat or a pet dog, but at the same time will slaughter another animal and eat it. And butcher it and eat it. And I don't even want to go there. That one's actually carnism. Yeah.
Yes.
So just keep in mind that these people are feeding from that separate self ego. That's what we call the ego. The ego is the illusion of separateness. Okay. If you don't look at the animals as part of you, they're just something out there that you can kill and eat because you're hungry, then you are living in a egotistic or a separate self-consciousness. Okay. You haven't graduated or evolved or been enlightened to the level of consciousness to understand that, that is my brothers and sisters. We are all one. We are part of what we call God, the source that is in all of us, that is really, everywhere you look, but you really have to take that discipline. You're going to have to make self-sacrifices. I love a big old fat juicy steak on the grill, the way it tastes and smells and all this and that, but I give that up years ago because I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat animals anymore for that main reason, because I'm just on a different level of consciousness. Just on a different level.
And that's I was going to say, adding to your the statement about the steak is, we live on the coast. We live in a Cajun
seafood too, guys.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Seafood. I love me some crawfish. I love shrimp. I love crab. But when I started awakening and realizing the oneness with everything, it really had a profound effect on me. Also, I went out here and I watched videos to help me in my walk of these slaughterhouses that you don't get to see every day. You get to see what these creatures go through moments before death and the fear that they are in as they're being slaughtered.
And you're eating their fear too, by the way. Just to let you know, because that animal takes all that in. So, if you knew, guys, but you're not ready, because if you are, then you'd already be doing it, Right. But just to be mindful of it.
But that's not what this episode is about. But that's just at this point my level of understanding with everything and my action steps that I'm taking to live in harmony with all of nature.
Right. And your diet, guys, the way you eat, what you put into your temple, what you put into your body is 1,000% affects you, okay? And we're going to be covering that later on in this series, so we'll get there. We're going to help everybody because we're all in this together, guys. It's all, it starts in the mind. You got to get the mind right, and and that's what we're doing here. We're really getting everybody in the right mindset as we gradually go into this, because we've got exercises, we've got methodologies, we've got techniques, we've got everything we're going to need to be able to raise this consciousness.
Yeah, and I think the majority of mankind walks around with what I'm going to call spiritual split personality.
Yes.
Do you know what that is? I mean,
think about it. Yeah. Well, why don't we just go ahead and go over into today's topic that really ties into that? And, and really just keep in mind, guys, you are either living in oneness, in UDO, okay? That's just a little short acronym. Instead of saying you're living in Universal Divine Oneness, UDO is just a little quicker. You are living in that and you are enlightened, or you are living in a separate self-consciousness where you see everybody separate from yourself, every life form, including everyone that you see. And when the truth is, that's nothing further from the truth. That's a deception. So the point is getting that illusion under control and getting back to oneness.
Yes.
Let's jump into the subject at hand here. Now, this talks about our free will. Now, and it also ties in with that what we were talking about earlier and what you had said. Now, I quote, "Everyone has this spiritual, quote-unquote, split personality composed of selfishness." All right, most people out there, you're not going to admit that you're selfish, but guess what? You are. Even if you're the most kindest, giving person, there's something you're selfish about,
Right.
That's just in all of us. And the truth is, you've got to get a hold of the selfishness and put it, in place and get back into that oneness where you're more giving than taking. All right, breaking it down, like it says here, that the split personality is composed of selfishness, okay, which is in Christian terms called the devil. All right, that's going to be your dark side. Keep in mind, we all have this dark energy in us, okay?
Yes, because everything is balanced out. You have to have the dark with the light, the good with the bad. We get that.
That's
our dualistic world.
Right, you have to have one for the other to exist, okay? So grasp that, guys, that we all have this light and darkness in us, all right? Now, I'm going to get Daphne to share a little bit with you guys something here in the Conversations book that kind of explains it a little bit more when it comes to the actual this dualism or this split personality that we have. One is driven by the oneness or a divineness or a love. The other one is driven more by fear, okay? And more of the negative stuff that goes with that, and that's the dark side of things. And, humans are functioning through one of the two at all times. Okay, yes. You've got to understand that. We can't be blaming outside external sources for our own actions, you see.
Right.
When you realize that you are a divine oneness, then you start to change your life and get in harmony, and you don't make dark choices. You see, you're getting out of that dark part of yourself, you see. However, there are a lot of people who like to live in the self, or that fear, or the darkness, or the ego. All of that stuff that really separates us, or the illusion of, you're going to find it over here in that world of fear.
Right.
Yeah, well, and to go with that, like it says here, the dark side of us, the selfish side, is what they refer to as the devil in Christian terms, but also the universal spirit, okay, universal divine spirit is referred to as Christ, or a Christ consciousness. All right, keep that in mind before we go a little bit further. And Daphne, would you like to comment on that next part there?
Yeah, it says we are faced with choices between our signs being selfish and wanting, or being unselfish, which is considerate and giving. And then we can find that by making a selfish choice, we create what we call a karma that causes suffering. And the lack of doing, quote unquote, God's will and being separate from God creates pain, loneliness, emptiness, and a gnawing dis-ease deep down. And it is the spirit part of us that then seems to be giving us pain.
Very good. And like it goes on and keeps on saying here that the conscious seems to be giving us pain. But this pain is in truth simply coming from the selfish, separate self that is trying to resist the natural flow of the forces of the universal spirit. Okay? Sometimes people think by choosing to run away from God and delving deeper into a selfish, materialistic life that they can escape the pain. Okay? That's not true. It says they never can. The inner voice may get suppressed and may get hard to hear, but the pain and the dis-ease or the disease is always there. Mm-hmm. Now, here's something a lot of people aren't aware of, and this is where it really starts to get good, and this is where you really need to start paying attention, okay? And that's not a command. Just really start to focus and really pay attention to these words of wisdom, that they're sharing with us. And it is the understanding of the free will of others. You see, a lot of people don't think about that, okay? When most people are talking about free will, oh, yeah, you got the free will, you can do whatever you want. Free will, yeah, I can do this, yeah, you got the free will. Okay, we get it. But do you ever think about the free will of other human beings? How many people really think about that, Daphne?
Right. Most of us don't. We know that free will exists, but we think of it in terms of,
ourselves.
Okay, we're going to, like we was said earlier, we're going to pull this in. We're going to be greedy. This is my free will. Mm-hmm. And don't think about the reality, the other side of the coin, that everyone else has free will as well.
Yeah. So that's a golden nugget word of wisdom there when you're starting on this path towards enlightenment. Understand that everyone has free will. Okay, you don't have the right, and we're going to be tying in like the universal laws of non-interference.
That's
and things
what
like
I was
that.
just about to say, because
you don't have the
it was
right to
coming to my mind.
To interfere or intervene with another person.
Right. The universal law of non-interference is you don't get to control or have anything to do with someone else's free will, what they choose to do in their life.
That's right. Not even your children, guys. You're
you
there
can
as
guide
a parent.
And direct, right?
Yeah, you're there to guide and direct them when they're infants and when they're little and they can't do things on their own. You guide them into the right direction. When they become young adults and they, the Master said that a man will leave his mother and father and stick to his wife, and the two will become that one. That oneness that we talk about. So you really have to understand that it cuts off right there. A parent, if you want to maybe be there for them when they come to you for advice or something, that's fine. You be there for them, okay? And be there as much as you can when they need you, but you do not interfere, and you don't have an authority over that person anymore, because you're only playing a parental role, okay? That person is still a human being that's going to grow up and be their own parental person, their own life, their own, you've got to let that go. Right. You cannot hold on to a child, and just because you're their parent, you think you have some kind of authority of them, they're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years old. You don't. That's an illusion of the self.
Even within our relationships as couples.
Yes, it's the same principle. Yeah. You
have no control over your mate. You're loving conditionally if you do.
That's right. And that's for all of us. That's a good lesson for all of us. When you become unselfish, which ties in with Udo, and that's what this is all about, that enlightenment, you will change on the inside, and it will change everything outside as well. But you learn to love unconditionally.
Yeah.
Okay, now, before we get too far into the actual free will of others, Daphne, if you would, before I forget, when we're really talking about that separate self, that Satan, the dark side of us, or that Christ consciousness, we have that, that what we call that love and that fear. Okay, we all have this in us. Okay?
Yes, because
that polarity.
That's
Keep that in
something
mind.
that we really have to understand, is that everything we do, every action we take, is a result of living in fear or love. It is one of the two at all times. And the fear energy is that which contracts, closes down, draws in, it runs, hides, hoards, or harms.
Controls,
yes. I mean, there's you can go on and on and on with what fear is, the energy of fear. Okay, and the energy of love, it expands, opens up, sends out, stays, reveals, shares, heals. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And this is from the Conversations with God, but from Neil Donald Walsh. It says, every human thought, word, or deed is based in one emotion or the other, based on those two energies that I just read. It says you have no choice about this, because there is nothing else from which to choose, but you have free choice about which of these to select.
So that's beautiful. See that,
it ties in with this.
Exactly. So we have to understand that there is that oneness, okay, that is that true love, divine connected with all things, and there is that the dark side of us, that selfish, that, you know, the greedy, the harmful, the Satan, you know, that's, you have to understand those polarities are in all of us, okay? And you at all times are operating through one of those two polarities. You are either, you know, functioning through true agape love, you know, agape love, wherever you're from, tomato, or you're actually from a controlling kind of love, or a, you know, a conditional kind of love, which is kind of more of the self. It's more on that dark side. So it's really a good self-examination question for all of us, you know.
Exactly.
So just keep that in mind, guys. That is that separate, you know, one we call the Christ. That's the love, the high, and the other one we call the Satan, or that dark side, okay? And technically it's that world of fear. You know, it's not an actual entity with, you know, red with pitchfork and horns and a tail, and, you know,
living down in the earth
hell
deep.
And yeah, well, all that. That's a whole different. In fact, we may even do a whole episode on that one day, because there's lots of information out there on that. But it is an energy. We do have to understand that. So keep that in mind. But without getting too far off track, the free will of others, okay? Now, we've mentioned earlier that, you know, when you think of free will, yeah, okay, I got free will, we got free will, but you really think about that other person's free will. And when you start to do this, okay, now we start to bring in these universal laws, okay? Because now we are interacting with other beings, okay? And in order to interact with other beings in harmony with the oneness, we have to understand, okay, that according to the universal law of non-interference, like, you know, we had mentioned earlier, I don't have a right to interfere with that other person's spirituality or their walk or whatever they're doing. It's just not my right, okay? And when you understand that, then you are respecting, okay, the universal law of respect, that other person's being, okay, which means their decisions that they feel is best for their life, their choices, you know, however, whatever they want, their beliefs, whatever. But the point is, you do have a right, if you see someone potentially harming someone else, okay, or even potentially harming themselves, to intervene on whatever way, because, you know, it is about life, and we do have to be conscious of that as well, you know. So, but the reality is, guys, we don't, and
we have no control over others.
We don't.
The illusion that we do is just that, an illusion.
That's right. You know, like I said, not even our children, you know, not even our family, our friends. You may think you do.
Your mates, everything.
You're just playing roles here, guys. You know, and the role you're playing does not give anybody any kind of authority over another human soul, over another being. You don't. You know, whether you're playing a parental role, or, you know, you have children. Well, yes, that's your children. But that's the roles you guys are playing. You might have been their children in another, you know, past life. You never know. So that doesn't make any difference. If the parental role is for the early years of development, once the child reaches of age, the child becomes their own person. Okay, that's when the parental role gets cut off. Okay, and the parents really need to practice the law of non-interference. You know, you may have to in the child's early years, if they're, you know, in harm's way or could hurt themselves, or, you know, any potential of harm. Absolutely, you have to intervene. You see, but we're talking about adults, humans that can think on their own. Okay, and that ties in with the universal law of autonomy. Okay, and we're going to get into that here when we start getting into the actual laws.
Self-governing.
That's right. Every human being has the ability to self-govern themselves. They are a all-in-one exclusive package. You've got everything you need, and we've gotten away from that and somehow feel, and when you start getting down into the rabbit canyon, okay, it's not a rabbit hole.
Right.
You know, when you start seeing how deep all this stuff was and how much the mind has been taken over and manipulated by the powers that be and other things or whatever, but it's our own doings, you know. So man feels that they need to be, you know, spoon-fed and led and taught and have to do everything because they've forgotten who they are.
They can't think for themselves.
Right. That's right. That's right. So let's go into the actual free will of others. Now, it says here that honoring the free will decisions of others is considered vital and absolute. Okay, those are some serious words, guys.
Yes.
If you want to master Yudo, which is that Universal Divine Oneness, and get back to the God within and towards that path of enlightenment, it's vital to understand that honoring the free will of others, okay, is a decision that you have to do, and it's absolute. You in other words, you cannot get away from it. So keep that in mind. That is a universal law, okay, is honoring and respecting the free will of others, which once you start to respect the free will of others, now all the other ones come into play. So like, for example, cause and effect. The universal law of cause and effect. You're not going to harm that person because guess what? Something, you know, the law, universal law of cause and effect means something else is going to come back on you. You can't get away from that. You know, it's all tied in some kind of way. You know, you are either experience it here. You may even experience, you know, in your life review, you may experience somewhere in between, but the more love you put out, guys, the more love you get back. That's how that works. Yes. And when you honor and respect the free will of others, you're operating from that oneness, okay? You're not operating from that selfishness.
Right.
You know, because most people think that everybody else should think like them, and that's just not how it works.
Believe what they believe.
Right. And everybody's got their own beliefs, you know. But you have to love all and harm none, regardless of your beliefs. Beliefs change, you know. So it says here, oh, well, I kind of
covered that earlier. Yeah, exactly.
Let's go ahead and read it. It says that the only time one should interfere with another person's free will is when the person or the other person is inflicting their will on someone else. Ooh, did you see that? Did you catch that? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you do have the right to interfere if someone is interfering with someone else's free will. That would be, you know, harming someone or just...
Or forcing someone to do something against their will.
Against their will, yes.
You know,
yes.
that duress. That's
right. Very good. Yes, absolutely. So, like it says here, if you know, when the other person is inflicting their will on someone else, then you can intervene. It says that in other words, okay, if someone is forcing someone else to do something against their will or harming someone else against their will, we can intervene without breaking universal law.
Right.
Okay, so now you're in harmony with it because universal law, there is the universal law of love and the universal law of peace and all. So the universe vibrates at a certain harmony. You have to be in that same harmony or vibration.
Try getting on it.
To resonate with it, you know. So
I can't wait till we go to getting into these laws too, because I mean we're just touching on just a couple of them here within setting the foundation of it all. Yeah.
So, but anyway, other than that, universal laws cannot be broken. Now, but when it does involve an infringement of someone else's free will, it is a very different situation. Universal law dictates, okay, that we are not to interfere with the free will of others, regardless of whether or not we think their actions are wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's where the issue is a lot of times. You might think another person's actions are wrong, okay, and some cases it may be. You know, if they're interfering or intervening with another soul or, another something at harm or whatever, you have a right to intervene, yes. It says, even if we think someone is going to harm themselves, all right, think about this. We should always honor their right to do so, even if we know for certain something is wrong or the person will get hurt, other than warning them about the effects they are causing, okay? We are not to interfere with their freedom. Okay, I get that. Now, you see, that kind of really puts a little twist on things now. Is you can warn people, if you can see you have that insight, You can warn them, hey, if you do this, all right, guess what? This is some consequences you're facing.
Right.
You have that, but you cannot intervene and stop them, because now you're going against the law of freedom. So you can see how really totally separating yourself from all things and knowing how to approach each situation is going to take some practice. It's going to take a mindset. It's going to take a change. How far do you intervene? And there's a story we're going to share with you guys. I don't know exactly where it's at. It's about the golden monkey. It's a little statue type thing that it has to do with interfering with the universal laws, because we always try to intervene. Like the other day, for example, we were sitting out on the front porch and weather was nice out there, and all of a sudden we heard this little bird screaming or doing little bird sounds, and all of a sudden all the other birds around it, I don't know what was going on. It was the blue jays. And they were there must have been like 10 of them, I don't know, or more.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
They were just, wah, 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 and they were screaming, they were cutting up. I'm like, what is that noise?
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? So I turned around and looked, and a little baby jay had fallen out of the nest, and our cat had found it, okay? And just went over there and just kind of hit it. It didn't jump on it, but I guess it did. It harmed it, but it's just started to play with it for some kind of reason. I think they do that before they get ready to kill it or catch it. I don't know. We do feed her, by the way. But she is a cat. But the point is, just being a cat, I guess, out there, she saw it. She went over there and just jumped on it and just hit it. And the noise was all of the others kind of intervening, trying to do what they can to get the cat away, to rescue the baby. So I broke a law. Okay, I broke this universal law. So that bird fell for whatever reason it fell. That doesn't concern me. Okay, those other birds out there trying to do what they're trying to do with that doesn't concern me. The cat being a cat doesn't concern me. But I got up and I actually went over there and intervened. Okay, I took the cat. I got her, to get back, and I reached down and I grabbed the little bird, okay?
Put it up in the tree.
Yeah, and I walked over and I put it up in the tree, okay, just to get it up away from the cat. It was, I can pretty good reach on a limb, and it just sat there for a while. And we were kind of deciding, well, what do we need to do, So right there, I intervened, okay? I did it out of the intention. I thought I was doing good, looking back, and it was with good intention. I was trying to save the little bird. I'm like, well, let's take it and... Because I'm sure the cat was fixing to have lunch. I'm not stupid. Whether,
right.
It is what it is. But anyway, I just put the little baby jay up in the tree right there, and it was up there for a couple of hours. I'd go like every 30 minutes or so and go and check on it and just make sure it's okay. And I got to thinking, I'm like, well, maybe I may have to intervene. Okay, here we go with that, intervening again. I said maybe I have to get a little box and maybe get, nurse it back to help. It's you do that with a little stray kitten. You do that with something that in need, a little infant or a little animal or something. It's a natural thing to do that. Okay, so everything was with good intentions, But the point is, I intervened, and so I was talking to Daphne about it. And I said, well, look, I tell you what, when we had to go run some errands, and when we get back, I'll just go ahead and do that. We'll just take and maybe put it in a little box and help it out, When we got back, the little bird was not in the tree, and I got to looking around down on the ground. It was already dead and already covered with ants, So I'm like, oh, okay. So I had intervened, not saying I caused that, but in a way I did. I intervened. I threw something off in nature. It was covered with ants. So what did I do? I intervened again. I went and grabbed the shovel. And I took the shovel and I just kind of scooped the little thing up and I took it out back to the back of the property and I dug a little hole,
buried it,
a little baby grave, a little bird grave, and I dumped it in the grave and I covered it back up. Okay. And now as I was walking back to the house, I'm like, oh dear God, I just broke another universal law. You see, even with our best intentions, even if we mean well, that was the point of this other part. We can give advice to someone, but we cannot intervene, you see. The first thing when those birds were out there doing what they were doing and the cat doing what it was doing, I guess the real thing to do is, it may sound mean, is to let it be.
Yep.
It's going to be what it's going to be, put it that way. So I don't know if that's a good example, but it really popped up in my mind,
yep.
So
I remember that.
And you remember the experience, So now another thing to keep in mind is not only other people's free will, but really understand the concept or what it means to have your own free will. All right. You have to recognize and utilize your own free will and understand that you have free will. All right. It may not seem like it, but you do. You have total control over all your thoughts and actions. You have free will to do that. Now, it sounds simple and obvious, but it is not really accepted by most people. When you truly realize, okay, it's R-E-A-L, and they got a hyphen, I-Z-E. I don't know if there's something with that, real, eyes. In other words, when you understand it's real or reality, maybe, when you truly realize that you have free will, it empowers you totally. But it also makes you responsible and gives you responsibility. There goes the universal law of responsibility, okay? That world of responsibility, that law is a foundational law of the universe, okay? It's not to be taken lightly, but we're going to cover that later. Realizing your free will gives you the responsibility of being the main creator of your life. Realizing your free will gives you the responsibility of choosing between the powers of light and of darkness, between selfishness and unselfish love, between your separate self and God or Source or the All or the Universal Divine Spirit. Because most people really don't want to take responsibility for what happens with their lives. They don't really want to truly accept the idea that they have free will. Yet, they are still using their free will to make these choices all the time, even if they supposedly do it unconsciously. And of course, taking this unconscious way of choosing will almost always end up with the choices being made in favor of the dark or the selfish self. So, comments?
Yes, and I appreciate this comment right here. It says, your free will gives you the responsibility of being the main creator of your life. That is one thing that we have to realize and accept, that we are creating our life. If we're living a life of drama and trauma, well, guess what? We're creating it. Negative energy draws negative energy. Once you change that negative energy and bring in the light and positive energy, you start balancing out. You're creating it.
Yeah, and you'll even have those kind of energies come to you. You'll have different people coming into your life. You'll have certain people dropping off out of your life. You've got to make a choice to be either selfish, okay, all about you, and keep living in that world. And guess what? You're going to keep drawing everything that you call negative, or the dark side, or the self, or the selfish, or the Satan, or that dark energy, okay? You have a choice, or you can choose. That's your free will. Free will is you have the choice, okay? Choose to be good. Choose to be unselfishly loving.
Yes, exactly.
That real love, so.
Right, and that is just one thing that I am realizing in my own life. We are the creators of our world. We define who we are by our actions.
That's right, and your free will and your choices, guys, think about this. Here's a little thing for you. You can take a road to anywhere. All right? It's your choice. You can go anywhere and do anything you want. That's not just a physical road. That is whatever your mind can conceive, you can go. Listen to this. You can take a road to anywhere, and anywhere you are, you took a road to, okay? Where you're at in your life, guess what? You are the one who got you there.
Exactly.
Okay, how you reacted into different situations throughout your life. You might have looked at something bad, but you took a choice to live a certain way.
No matter where you go, there you are.
That's right. And these are choices that we all make. So when you understand that you have free will, that you make your own choices, and when you start to get out of that self, okay, the self likes to do is blame others, because self doesn't want to be responsible. Okay?
Right.
That's the thing. You have to train self to be responsible, and that is with the law of self-responsibility, okay? And we're going to share that with you. So anyway, just keep those things in mind as we move along here. Now, it says here, use free will and the universal law to create various destinies. Having free will means that you have the ability to choose the direction you will go on the path that lays before you now. By choosing your direction, you, okay guys, you bring experiences into your life. This is where free will interacts with the universal law of cause and effect. Notice how I brought this law out here, the universal law of cause and effect. Now, and we're going to get into it later as far as getting really into it and describing it all, but just for you guys out there listening, is what we also refer to in the Bible as reaping what you sow, okay? Mm-hmm. The law of cause and effect is, you only get out of life whatever you put into life. If you are in the self side and you live in selfishness and darkness, and that's all you live in, that's all you put out, then that's all life is going to give you, okay? That's just the way it works because it's cause and effect. It's what you're putting out. You can't get nothing in your life unless you put that out. So, and then moving to the other side, in that divine light, that oneness, putting out that love, that kindness and all that, the peace and harmony, and guess what? That cause and effect, you will get that in return. That is reaping what you sow. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I think I might have answered this next paragraph. But it says that thinking that someone else or something else is responsible for your experiences is a trick of the separate self. Let me repeat that, guys. So many people get hung up in the blame game.
Victimized.
Yeah. If you think that someone else or something else is responsible for you and the way you feel and your experience, this is a trick of the separate self. All right? It is an evasion of your own responsibility. So you are not practicing the universal law of what? Self-responsibility. Now, keep this in mind. You are never really a victim of circumstances. You can make yourself one and believe it, absolutely, but you're not. Nobody is,
right.
And I'll tell you why. Where you are at right now, kind of like we mentioned earlier, is where you have come to through the effects of your actions. We are all one. All are subject to the universal law of cause and effect. You see how that works, guys? It's got nothing to do with religion. We are all bound because we are nature. We are part of what we call source, what we call God. We are all bound to the universe by these universal laws. None of us can escape the law of cause and effect or the law of reaping what you sow. None of us can get out there and plant a watermelon seed and pop a corn stalk out of the ground. You can't. It can't be done. Now, again, we're all subject to that universal law of cause and effect, reaping and sowing. You reap what you sow. Now, a plant you water and feed will thrive. The one you do not will die. Good, nice little analogy there. Now, when your personal wants or your selfish side, okay, and your desires have your attention, okay, you are focusing on and empowering your selfish, separate self. And thus, thinking and acting from the separate consciousness, guys. You're not living in you, that oneness. When an entity acts thus, it acts in a selfish way, and a negative cause is put into action. Bam, there's where your negativity comes from, that negative energy that someone created. It doesn't have to be out there, external evil forces doing it. No, we are creating these worlds. We are creating the love. We are creating the positive. We are creating the selfishness. We're creating the negativity, okay? When an entity acts this way, okay, being selfish, and it says, and a negative cause is put into action, and the reaction brings its negative effects. That's cause and effect, reaping what you sow. Likewise, when an entity acts in an unselfish, loving way, a more positive cause is brought forth and positive effects will result.
Living in the fear and the love. You're in one of the two, the positive or the negative, at all times.
Absolutely. And the fear side is the selfish side. It's the ego side. It's the illusion of self. Okay, and that's where separateness and selfishness lives. Okay, now moving on. So let me ask you guys, all of you who are listening, and everyone out there, just listen to this question. What have you created in your life and the lives of others? When you initiate negative causes, you could be said to be accumulating negative karma. When you get a negative experience coming into your life, some say it could be a karmic payback, quote unquote, taking place. The same with positive. Positive out means positive karma accumulated, in turn equals positive karma payback. Get you thinking there. So now negativity seeks positivity so it can neutralize itself, guys. Their very positive natures drew such negative response because this world is ruled by negative, selfish, separate selves. The greatest beings have suffered the most. Think about that, guys. This also occurs because the universal spirit forges its best tools in a fire. So it's not an easy walk to walk this walk, but worth it. You must be surrendered to the universal spirit and following the guidance of universal will. The best way for a person to react is to see the lesson in the experience, realize what life is communicating to you through this experience, and then make the change. Okay? Such a change will ensure that the mistake will never be repeated, and thus your future quote-unquote nows, because we can only live in the now, will be different. So, comments, Daphne.
We have to really stay in a positive. That way we're not seeing the dark. I mean, you're going to see the dark if you're awake anyway, but you're not living and getting to experience the negative all the time. If you want to change your life, change your vibration.
Yeah, very well said. I like how it's brought out here when it talks about your free will and the actual mind and so many of the ancient writings talk about this, but it says here that the ancient teachings indicated that with a combination of diet, okay, that goes back to that living off of Mother Earth, okay, and it has to be live food.
What we were talking about in the very beginning of this episode.
Absolutely. It all ties together. And we'll get more into the actual lifestyle and how to live the way the Masters taught. But when you do this, like it says, the proper combination of diet, meditation, okay, we're going to teach all that. We've got methods, and we're going to be doing all this together, guys. And also energy techniques, that a lifespan could be stretched like a rubber band, and that lifespans of 800, 900, or older were not only possible, but should be the norm. Okay? Again, that's with the right diet and things like that, and eating right, taking care of yourself. And the challenge is in today's world, because man has used the dark side for selfishness and greediness and slaughtering the animals and to supply the carnivore diet of a lot of people. Now they're wiping out all of these animals, and now they're having to wipe out Mother Earth to increase the land to raise these animals. It's everything's off balance, guys. And like I say, if you're a carnivore, you're part of the issue, and you will be until we raise consciousness. We have to get to the point of, hey, these people, put them out of business. Don't give them a reason to slaughter these animals. Don't give them a reason to grow them. They're only doing it to feed the demand, supply the demand. Well, if everybody would get back to where they need to be and quit slaughtering these animals and, raise your consciousness, then the whole overall consciousness will rise, So now, when you're dealing with Yudo, or really life period, you really need to understand your thoughts and the role that, your thoughts play in everything. Thoughts are powerful, guys. Thoughts are things, okay? Never underestimate that, okay? They are things. Your thoughts, okay? You have to understand what thoughts are, what the world of thoughts are, and how powerful thoughts are, both negative and positive, okay? So just keep in mind, I'm going to share a few things with you guys here, and Daphne's got a few things she wants to share with you from the Conversations book there. It says here that thoughts are the very building blocks of physical experience. Now think about that. Thoughts are the very building blocks of physical experience. Your thoughts are what create the physical reality. Now, please contemplate in fullness this outstanding concept. Everything that humans have done or created came from the mental realm first.
Oh, me,
Daphne?
me. Hermetics in action.
Absolutely. That's the universal law of mind.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Everything is mind.
Everything is mind.
Okay,
very good.
So
yeah.
with that thought in mind.
There you go. Pun intended.
Right, exactly. So from the Conversations book, I'm going to be reading a couple of things from book 1 and from book 2, but it says, thought is pure energy. Every thought you have ever had and ever will have is creative. The energy of your thought never dies, ever.
That's powerful. Think about that.
It leaves your being and heads out into the universe, extending forever. A thought is forever.
Thoughts are things, guys.
Yes, thoughts are like magnets drawing effects to you. Thoughts are very subtle yet extremely powerful form of energy. And one more little thing. Thoughts are pure vibration, and they can and do create physical matter. And that's what we've been talking about. Everything comes from thought. Everything is mind.
Universal law of mind.
Right. So if you're sitting here, you're down on yourself, I don't have this, I
It's in
don't
your
have
mind.
that. You're creating your reality with your thoughts, spoken into words, going out into the universe. The universe only says, yes, I will give it to you, therefore brings it to you. So we therefore create our own realities.
And you've kind of touched base on a couple of the universal laws there. One, you mentioned earlier about the thoughts and different vibrations. There is the universal law of vibration, that everything vibrates. That's in hermetics as well.
Rhythm.
Yeah. And vibration, the law of vibration. And you also talked about the law of attraction just now as well.
Right.
That putting that thought out, you do attract what you put out. Now, to go with that thought there, like it says here, everything that you can think of, okay? Do this, a little experiment, guys. Wherever you're at, just be careful driving. You don't have to really do it. You just keep driving. But if you're in a position to do this, okay, everything that you see, anywhere you look, okay, if you're outside and you see buildings or whatever, if you're driving, you see it. But if you're in your home, just look around your table, your couch, your television, the walls of something pictures hanging on the wall, anything, everything. No matter what you think of, no matter where you're at, if you're in school, if you're in the store, just look around. Anything, everything, all started with mind. It started as somebody's thought.
We have said that many times throughout this podcast. Many episodes we have mentioned that everything comes from thought. Whether it's the computer sitting in front of you, the vehicle you're sitting in, your clothes that you're wearing, no matter what it is, has been someone's thought manifested into reality.
Right, and that's what this means by your thoughts create physical reality. Thoughts are the physical building blocks of reality. When you understand this concept, then you're on your way to Udo. You understand when you get back to that oneness and you understand that you are source, you are God, you are a creator, then guess what? You create your world. Mm-hmm. And you make it a better world for yourself and others involved. Now, to go with that, here's a little analogy for you, okay? Now, try to think of even one thing, okay, that wasn't first thought of before it came into existence. A building? Well, first someone had to conceive of the idea of a building, right? Then someone had to want a building. Then they had to figure out the details of how it would be. Then the details of how it would be constructed. Every single thing or thought that you can think of that is not from nature, okay, keep that in mind, was first initiated in the mind. And then it says here, don't take this lightly. All right, listen to what we're saying. You must realize it, not just intellectually grasp it.
Right.
When you think about it, it is really like magic. All right. Someone just thought of a building, and in relatively very little time, really, it was there. It is magic, guys, just a slower reacting form, because it is dealing with a slower vibration realm. You must also realize that anything you dwell on with your thoughts will become physical reality. Okay? So, thinking about something first gives it birth. Then, thinking of it again is nurturing it. It is part of the process of bringing any thought or idea to fruition. First, you plant the mental seed. All right, guys, this is magic. We're getting into the deeper things of life here, the spiritual path to Udo. These are seeds. Really start paying attention. Write it down if you have to. Go back and listen again, but please listen to this because you can change your life. Okay. It is part of the process of bringing any thought or idea to fruition. Okay, first you plant the mental seed, then you water it by thinking about it from time to time. It will grow. If you don't tend to your plant, it will die. This works in our favor and also against us, depending on what our plant is and if we discipline our mind. All right? Now, keep in mind, if you have negative seeds, okay, such as those planted by negative thoughts, emotions such as jealousy, the separate self will use your programming and emotions to constantly turn your thoughts to those seeds. You get that? This will provide constant nurturing. Thus, it will bring to bear negative fruits. Guys, do you see how this works? What can you do to stop negative seeds or plants from thriving within you? You can only starve them out by using your will, the universal law of will, to discipline, the universal law of discipline, yourself and control your thoughts. It's the only way. Redirecting your thoughts towards the positive every time a negative thought rises.
Exactly. You are reminding me so much in reading this, how these books are in harmony with each other, that the every time you have a negative thought, change your thought. Keep your thoughts in the positive, because it creates and brings your reality to you. And I would like to just throw this out there from the Conversations book. You know, a lot of us tend to quote unquote worry about things, you know, and I have been at that place in my life where I worried about things as well. But
dealing with your thoughts,
dealing with your thoughts. So from book 1 of Conversations, it says, worry is the activity of a mind which does not understand its connection with me, which is everything, everyone, that universal divine oneness.
Absolutely.
Let me say that again. Worry is the activity of a mind which does not understand its connection with the universal divine one.
Yeah. Get back to that oneness, guys, and then you have
call
nothing
it God
to worry
if
about.
you want to call it God. You want to throw a name on what you
Whatever,
call
yeah.
God, that whatever it is,
Just do it.
You do it. Realize your connection, your oneness with it. You are an extension of that force.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so just keep in mind that whatever you focus on, the thoughts, you can feed negative thoughts with your thoughts. You can create negative thoughts, but anything you create, it goes out. Okay? Thoughts are real, especially if you speak it. And you will get it in return. If you're putting out the negative, then guess what? You're going to get back the negative. If you're putting out the positive, you're going to get back the positive. And keep in mind, if you stop watering and tending your negative plants, they will eventually die. Okay? Whatever you're feeding in that negative world, what you're planting, all right? That's all there is to it. All right? You have to willfully, responsibly, deliberately, with discipline and focus, you have to be aware of how the negativity affects you in your life and how to approach that, you know, with a counteracting attack, I guess, for lack of words. And we're going to share with you how to do that, because it's a challenge for a lot of us. It really is. A lot of people, when you're trying to, you know, do good, but you might get into a negative spiritual energy, and that energy could really attack you and harm you if you're not
And
careful.
if you're attuned to energies around you, you're going to know when you're around a negative energy. Your thoughts, you will know, hey, I don't need to be thinking about this. Change your thought.
Yep.
Stamp it out. Stop watering the plant.
That's
Let
the
it die.
Yep. And they said that's all there is to it. Just don't feed it, right? Now it says, but you cannot directly fight evil or thoughts and feelings. Okay, you cannot directly fight this. Just keep that in mind, whether it's yourself or someone else. You will lose to it, because the very nature of fighting involves directing your thought energy towards the thing you are fighting. You see, you still don't have control of your thoughts where it needs to be. Your thought energy then feeds it, sustains it, even as you seemingly fight it. The only way to win is to starve out the negative by not thinking negative thoughts or even thinking about it at all.
Exactly.
And by making progress in the positive. Daphne?
Exactly. I love it. I mean, it totally resonates with me. I get it. It is in harmony with my belief system. I mean, we just literally have to control our thoughts. I mean, if you just let your mind wander and dwell on one thing, then that, whatever that is going to come to fruition in your life.
Yeah. Like it says here, it says, while mind is the builder, okay, will is the director of mental activities, all right? It's kind of like a construction boss, okay?
Thought, word, deed.
There you go. That's how it works. It's all connected. And when you understand that, guys, it's magic. You can create any world you want. You can lend your will to either your selfish, separate self or your inner being. You can have positive thoughts or negative thoughts. You can be destructive or constructive. But only through using your will in harmony with universal will or universal divine laws, universal divine oneness, can you achieve lasting peace in bringing balance, oneness to the spiritual, mental, and physical. Right? The universe has a will, okay? And the universe is a being of sorts, not in the sense that you can understand now, but yes, it has a will. All right, think about this, guys. The universe has a will. It also has a consciousness and a flow. We'll talk about the universal law of flow later as well. It continues to function in incredible synchronization and harmony. Only humans have gone out of step with it.
We were saying that earlier about everything in the universe. Animals, all creation is in harmony with this except for mankind. Hello, right here you go again.
It keeps popping up in all kind of different articles, and we've already discovered it a few times here just in the Udo information.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So, now, universal consciousness can be further described as an awareness within each being.
Wait, what?
Universal consciousness can be further described as an awareness within each being.
There you go.
Within, guys.
Everything is within. Hello, the kingdom is within. Your intentions, your heart, your intuition, everything is within this physical being.
It's not what goes in, it's what comes out.
Exactly. Hello.
Yeah. Get you thinking. Yeah. So this awareness is ingrained or pre-built into the mind, and when awakened by the spiritual use of will, the person then realizes their oneness with the universal spirit. Okay? It's already there inside of you.
Yep.
It just takes the right stimulus to bring it out. Okay? Now, it's the same with universal consciousness, guys. If you want to awaken the imprinted pattern of that awareness, you just need the right stimulus. And in this case, the right stimulus is applying your free will unselfishly.
Living in love.
That's the key, guys. When you grow enough in consciousness that you begin to make free will decisions that are unselfish, you trigger a response and you instinctively begin to discover a new awareness, your universal consciousness.
You waken from slumber. I mean, throughout Scripture it says that even awaken, O sleeper, awaken, wake up. We are awakening to our oneness with everything, everyone. That great essence, many religions call God. You know, the source energy of all things.
Yeah,
we are part of.
That's right, guys. That's what it is.
It's an awareness.
It's just the awareness, correct, of that oneness. That is
raising the consciousness. That's why we're here, people.
That's right. That's right.
We're here to help.
It looks like it's time to go ahead and wrap things up. But before we do, I got a final comment. I want to read this last little section here.
Sure.
And it says, there is a hierarchy of beings that are beyond us in consciousness.
Ooh.
Keep that in mind, guys. All of us are at different levels. There are beings that are so far advanced we can't even comprehend their consciousness. And there's others that are so low advanced, it makes you question theirs as well. But the point is, yes, there are beings, there's hierarchies out there, okay? Like it says here, hierarchy of beings that are beyond us in consciousness, who have left the physical plane of Earth or were never part of it, okay? All the way to the source of the universal spirit. These include angels, enlightened and saintly beings, some of whom are our ancestors, and other greater beings. They see and understand these things better than us because of their state of ascended consciousness, and are there to guide us if we surrender our reins to the universal will. Thus, we can only properly make such choices as the one in the example above if we let our inner being, with its quote-unquote universal consciousness, guide us intuitively. So,
Intuitively, right there you go. You have to be aware of your own instincts, that gut feeling, intuition. We all have it,
which is a universal law. I'm pretty sure that universal law of intuition.
You know, I really appreciate this little paragraph right here, because so many of our NDEers have mentioned, conversing with angels, enlightened ones on that other side, and it just really reminded me of the ascended masters, that are here to help and guide us when we ask for it. There's a law of non-interference that they live by. Everyone, everything has to live by. Okay, so these angels, these greater beings, whether it's our ancestors, saintly ones, whoever it is on the other side, they too live in harmony with the law of non-interference. That is why so many of our NDEers say you have to ask for their help.
Yeah.
When you ask, they can help you. But if you don't, then you're kind of stuck wherever you're at. But they are here to help us, and they live by that law of non-interference as well.
Think about that. Yeah. So,
we said, we humans
laws
are the only ones that live out of harmony with laws.
That's right. That's right. And that's the point, guys. The universal laws affect everyone, regardless of who you are, where you're from, what you think, what your religion is, what your beliefs are, any of that. Okay? We are all affected. Even these higher beings, these other beings and creatures and things, we can't even see this in other dimensions. We are all locked into universal laws.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of Udo and really applying these laws in your life. So, yeah, well, very good, very good. Any final comments on today's topic? We got some really good stuff we've been really covering. Daphne.
I think we just really have to take a moment to reflect within each one of us. Ask where you're at with your life. Who am I? What am I going to do with what I have in my life? Where am I going in life? And really meditate to connect with that divine essence. Let it be your guide, because we tend to want to do things our way and when we want it, how we want it, without reflecting and asking for that guidance that we really need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. What about any takeaways from today? Let's do a couple of highlights. Free will. I would say the one that really sticks out in my mind is really understanding and really appreciating the free will of others.
Right.
We all think free will and we got free will, or some say, well, we don't have free will. No, we do. You do have free will. You don't believe me? Try it.
Right.
You have the choice to do whatever you want, think whatever you want, believe whatever you want. That's the power of thought,
Right, and that's what I was going to say was my next one was the just thought,
Yeah.
Thought is active, is alive. It is a being that is forever. Yeah. We may think one thought and it's gone, but it's not. It's going out into the universe, creating and being and doing, because it is energy as well.
That's right. And also, guys, the power of thought and controlling your thoughts and really feeding or planting seeds of negative. Now, if you are serious about this path, guys, it's going to get to the point where, you're going to even not even want to be around even people that you may have associated with in the past who carry negative energies with them. Until they learn how to get a hold of themselves, it's advisable not to. Because energy is energy, and it's very powerful, and a negative energy will drain positive energy quicker than anything else, so.
I'm going to throw this out there with you saying that. Thank you for bringing it up. One thing that I've had to do in my walk with me, because I am an empath, I pick up on energies, I feel, I sense, I know them when I feel them. And you can take and place yourself in a bubble, place yourself surrounded by beautiful, glorious light. You know, that protection. You can see yourself as the mirror that reflects the negativity, that you don't absorb it. There's many action steps that you can take to keep from absorbing the negative energy from others, because we have to go out in public. We have to get things. We have to do things, so you in walking by, if you hug somebody, even, you're taking on these energies. So have that protective shield around you, that bubble, the mirror, whatever you want to use.
Awareness of that too, the mindfulness.
Put it out there so that you are protecting yourself from the negative.
Yeah. And that would tie in the universal law of awareness. That's a...
Exactly.
I
can't wait to get into these laws. You keep throwing them out there,
I know.
snippets of them. I'm like,
Well, why don't we do this? Because this whole system is really based on, the Udo system, and it incorporates the actual universal laws, okay?
When we going to get to them?
We're going to get to them, okay? Here's what we're going to do. Why don't we do this here on the next episode, okay? Because I think we've got a pretty good foundation about, the concept of Udo, but we're going to keep going deeper into that, okay? And start using these laws and how to start applying them and start
tying the laws in with the awareness of the oneness.
Yeah. But why don't we do this on the next episode? Why don't we just start bringing the laws to everyone's attention? Just kind of what we can do is just kind of do an overview of the laws themselves, okay? Just a rundown on all the laws we'll be covering, and then we'll go ahead and cover a couple of the laws and how to actually apply them in your life.
Action steps,
to kind of show you how, something like that. And then as we keep the Udo thing going, okay, and then we'll be kind of going back and forth as we come into certain laws. Like, say, for example, when it talks about the law of cause and effect, we'll jump over into that area and, and show the listeners how to apply the law of cause and effect, in certain situations.
Definitely.
Or whatever
I'm so
law,
looking forward to
whatever
it.
law it is. Yeah, very good,
yes.
very good. Well, perfect. Thank you guys for tuning in. And don't forget to go to the website. That's NDE.world for more information on who we are and what we do. And we'll be looking for you guys out there. That is NDE.world. And keep in mind, we love you all so much. Stay focused, guys. You've got this. We're here to help any way we can. We're all in this together. So just keep all that in mind. Your thoughts are you. And you are your thoughts. And you have the free will to choose either which way you want to go and the energy you want to put out with others. So we love you all. May peace be with you all, guys. Until next time.
Y'all let your light shine.
Hello, you beautiful souls. Don't forget to visit the website, NDE.world. That is
NDE.world.